just gonna jump a core if they show that is not pure with the Aegis. They might jump pure as well. They have to be decisive here. Feels secure with Butterfly BKB here.
Gleipnir leading into Tornado. The kisses gets canceled. Now Ramsey tries to jump in, but he gets counter-hexed. Can they blow him up in time? They're trying for it. They throw out all their stuns, but he managed to get off his BKB arena. Now they're turning around. Pure gets a little bit low here off of this one, but got off his ultimate. A second arena being used, surrounded by walls after walls. Hector's not getting out of this one, as all those BKB usages early on means that his BKB does not last long anymore. A second lane of barracks taken by Tundra, and 3 minutes ago on the Aegis.
I mean, these Hurricane Pikes, just such a nightmare for Heroic to fight into. It just bails Ramses out at the very end there. And double arena. Like, nobody can engage the fight to follow up and help Hector at that point. Forces his buyback here. Buyback out of the Llama. You're missing the BKBs. You're missing the Marcy ult. This is just Mega's uncontested. Yeah. Tundra continuing to squeeze this game out.
And they're going to keep the pressure up. They're going to go for the tier 4s while Analog is still dead for 45 seconds. Heroic going to have to go for another miracle hold here like they did in the bottom lane earlier. Another 4 versus 5. Now it's going to be a 3 versus 5. They do manage to jump Pure, but again, he's got the Aegis. So as much as they can commit to try and finish him off, what does it matter if he's still got a second life right around the corner? And that is going to be it. Heroic are going to call GG on this game 1.
They just got... I don't want to say they got run over, but it did not feel like they had any plays in that game that were working to their advantage. Like, they had very little opportunities to make aggressive moves or control parts of the map. It was pretty much just Hector split pushing. You're getting some Ancient farm on the TA, but that's about it. I would expect them to come into this game 2 trying to rectify that biggest thing. And if you're Tundra, I mean, you're pretty content with how this game 1 went. According to your plan, you knew what Heroic were going to pick, and like Moon said, they were confident.
Yeah, anticipating a different draft for Heroic, because after all, what good is greed if you can't win the late game?
That is a really good question. They were, doing okay to push it towards that late game. They were able to hold the high ground in that bottom lane. Forced Tundra a little bit, at least to try and wait for that second Roshan for themselves. But at the end of the day, it was not enough for Heroic. Lanes just kind of fell apart a little too quickly, a little too fast for them. And I think that really started in the mid lane, Winter, in terms of looking great for Tundra. And that was able to transition again into making the side lanes even better.
Yeah, that was also the lane that I felt like they thought with the TA, they will be able to gain some advantage out of their lane. And I'm not really sure about the matchup, but it seems like Invoker doesn't really lose to TA. And if that's the case right now, then why are you doing like the TA into the Invoker? I mean, sure, you can have the shard into the Invoker later, but overall, because of the nature of the lineup again, the greed, you need more than that, Like, it's just not enough, their early game. It doesn't really catapult them into the middle game and give them time to get to the late game where they are DK, Marcy, and TA shines.
I can make excuses for Analog here, because I do think this is something that happens in a game that has such frequent and impactful patches, especially with the fastest patch coming out, completely changing the game. The issue is that he has all these instincts that are telling him, like, as a TA player, like, historically, he's always beaten Invoker's mid. It's been a hard counter. This patch comes out, I'm sure he's played it in some pubs, but he's a tier 1 mid. He's playing at the International. He's beating people in pubs because he beats people in pubs. He's just better than them, right? So you go against Thompson, a player who is exceptional, and honestly, he played this game almost flawlessly. Like, he played so well. And all of a sudden you realize the matchup isn't what it once was. And I'm sure he'll adjust that in his mentality. This happens a lot when you have the patches come out. And sometimes it just takes a game like this to happen for you to realize, like, this is not what the matchup is anymore.
A big question mark as well is not many teams are able to get away with showing double cores in the opening of their draft. Heroic picked up the Dragon Knight and then the Marcy as well. Divide really struggled on this Marcy. I know it's not like one of those things of, oh, bad hero, you shouldn't pick it. There were a lot of rotations to his lane early, and then on top of that, where he went somewhere that he thought he could get free farm, before you know it, there's the Weaver and the Invoker showing up again here, and this Marcy was really falling off in the network.
Yeah, there's a lot to say about that. I think in the draft itself, I'm just like, Marcy's not a core, and Jenkins like, yeah, she is. He plays it, and I didn't believe it. Now I see this game, and they
you
tried.
Still don't believe it. It was a core.
I mean,
I don't know if the I believe
the
it.
network didn't show that it was a core, but let's just start with why they picked it. they're cheesing, right? They're going for this bodyguard facet with Snapfire, and theoretically what this does is you put the bodyguard on your Snapfire, and then whenever your ally attacks, you attack. So you start the little shredder up, and then it's like some cheese effect. It's just outstanding damage that normally will get kills. But unfortunately, you're playing versus like a Weaver who's just going to run away from that damage, disengage. They end up losing that, and there's a reason why these heroes like Doom, for example, are super popular in the offlane. These Mars, these heroes can farm if they get behind. They have abilities and spells that can farm, and this is why Marcy in the offlane typically is not picked, because if you do go like 1 in 12, well, maybe not 1 in 12, but that's what he ended up. If you do have like 1 or 2 deaths in the laning stage, there is no comeback mechanic. This hero does not farm. It needs items to farm. It does not farm with spells. So if he gets shut down, and it looked really bad for him, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like if you don't win your lane with Marcy, inevitably this will happen because there's no comeback mechanic.
Okay, here's a question. How much Divai Llama have you guys watched over the last couple of years?
Quite a lot.
Quite a lot. Would you agree with the sentiment that maybe this is not just a Marcy thing, and that he is just the type of player that he is either 12-1 or 1-12? Like, we saw it on the camera. He's an emotional player, and I think it goes both ways. Like he can 1v5 take over a game, especially if he's playing like one of his Siggies like Timbersaw, but it can also go completely the other direction where he just snowballs out of control feeding.
I agree with that, yes. And I feel like if you... Well, so here's the question. Do you want to put him in a position that's really feast or famine to match his personality? Or do you want to try to neutralize it a little bit by picking something more stable?
I mean, don't you feel like being on the off lane and being feast or famine playstyle is just such a liability to your team? Like off laners used to be described as the backbone of the team. You know, you're always going to be delivering the amount of work to your team, regardless. It's not like too much or not too little. It has to be something linear, you know, every game. But with his type of playstyle, I feel like it might not be so good if he continues this trajectory of being so feast or famine.
Transition that win in mid lane for himself into those side lanes and everything, but that's an added effect as to why no one could even really get anywhere. Even the TA, who still had a considerable amount of net worth, there's no impact. Nothing was really coming from it at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to talk about Tundra just because they just played well, you know? They played good Dota, a very standard Dota, where it's easy to just kind of like focus on Heroic and what went wrong there. They lost all 3 lanes. They picked a very greedy draft. Hector's going Midas instead of Armlet on DK, so the one comeback you do have potentially as Divai Llama is maybe your carry joins a fight here or there, and you get a couple kills and get a return there, but he's AFK farming. He doesn't have an Armlet. He can't join these fights. Mid lane, also known, very greedy. TA just farms. Yeah, she lost her lane too. She's just farming. So you're in a situation where you just can't play Dota anymore. I said before the game started, they had to win all 3 lanes to really make this strategy work. They lost all 3 lanes, and it was just pretty straightforward win for Tundra in my eyes after that happened.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the kind of hybrid play style that we see coming out from some of these players. Like Soxa in this game went for 3 bracers on Mirana into Hurricane Pike. It's like it does seem like it's earlier and earlier, but I think that's just because of the nature of they were doing so well in this game, and he had such high net worth. We saw
not every position for, despite it being a scaling hero, can do that.
No, not every position. It requires the right game, but to identify that we are so far ahead that he has a damn Daedalus at the end. But in my eyes, this makes the game impossible to come back in, because you're going to have to use all of your resources to kill the enemy carry, like to kill the Weaver. But then because Soxa has built like this, all of a sudden you have no resources, and then you have to deal with a second carry. You look at Thompson, the guy has Hurricane Pike Butterfly on mid Invoker. He's also building to scale. So it's like the items are scaling items, and there's the adequate amount of group up items that are being picked so that you can like choke out the map and be active. But once they're able to choke out the map, they build scaling items on all of the heroes that they can get away with. So it's just about finding that golden ratio of, okay, we can group up with this, and then at this point, let's all scale.
I mean, this is why you can't play alone, but you need to help everybody get rich, like as a carry player, you can't just like, oh, I'm gonna buy miners. Those idiots, they can't farm, I'm gonna have to do everything on my own. I feel like that's a pretty bad mindset. Instead, you should be thinking, okay, everyone's having a hard time. I have to come out. I have to, get my hands dirty. I have to help my off laner. He's already crying, I need to get him back into the game. My mid laner is struggling in a matchup where he's supposed to win, so mentally he's done. So if I don't come out, if I don't do something, the game is over, But instead, he chooses, I'm going to get Midas and
that's how
screw
we
these
back
guys,
in. Yeah, it's rough. I was a little unsure about Heroic where their mental would be after this, because looking at Devi, I mean, that's the highs and lows of watching a Devi game, is you're going to get his player count no matter what. Is it going to be enjoyable to look at? Well, that's, a little up to interpretation there, but it's nice to see the team all gathered around there, having a bit of a pep talk with each other, but I think they should also be talking about what needs to be changed up for the draft. Their opening phase bans were that Shadow Demon, the Omni, and the Viper. Really, really standard things, but now's the question of, are standard bans going to give you the advantage over Tundra? They like to pick a lot that's in the meta, favored by a lot of different teams, so is it more changing what you want, or making sure that they aren't getting what they want?
I mean, there's a lot, I think, of their draft that I wasn't really feeling. First pick DK was one of them. This is a hero that is seen a lot of play, the most played hero. It's not doing super hot. So that's definitely one thing, but I think what they should really focus on more than anything is having a good draft, a cohesive draft that makes sense with each other. They tried to cheese it with the Marcy, I get it. TA mid, there's a reason we haven't seen a lot of it. Maybe pick something where Analog can make some rotations, is going to do well in the mid lane. Something, I feel like they tried to cheese that game, the best way I can put it. You got offlane Marcy and TA. These are heroes that aren't in the meta right now. Maybe, dial it down a little bit. Pick some more standard stuff.
I will say about Devi Lama and his mentality, he is very emotional in the game, but he's also known for being very quick to reset. I've seen this exact scenario where game one is this very goofy looking thing where he's dying a lot, and then game two, he is completely carrying the team on his back. So it's not like he's not been in this position before. It is his first TI, so there is that question of, will that trend continue when he's got all of this pressure on his shoulders? But I'm fairly confident. I think he's just a really emotional guy. You see the frustration, but it's frustration more with himself and with the state of the game. It's not like he's flaming his team.
Of course, I didn't expect him to be in this voice chat being like, I can't believe you're doing this. This is the worst game we've ever had. We're a terrible team.
I've just heard the rumblings that people don't mind. It's like people almost like that because on the flip side, he really hypes up his team if they're winning and if they're doing well, and you see that in the way that they snowball.
I mean, to build on top of that, I feel like in the draft, if you have to choose someone to draft around, I think based on what I've seen, how they play as a team, I feel like he's the person, Dalai Lama, you should be trying to draft around, because I feel like he has a very, very positive effect on the gamer and in the team, raising their morale. So if you try to draft around that, even if you have to pick his hero early, try to just make everything around it. If he's being on a carry off lane, then you kind of have to try to scale down on the mid laner, or probably not the carry because it's Hector, so you have to scale down from the mid laner and try to make him play, for the off lane. You play a Monkey King, whatever rotating hero, go to the off laner, open up the game and help him get into the game.
Luckily we have this graphic there, because I was going to ask you guys what are some more of those quote-unquote standard off-laners that Devi likes to pick up for himself, but we're having this graphic here of showing us what has been played between the two off-laners so far in the road to the International. 4 different heroes for Devi, 6 different ones for Ramses.
I think this top right one is a big consideration for bans. Nat, you asked about what going forward should Heroic look to ban. I think Ramses, it looks like the most exceptional Mars player right now. Every single time he picks it, seems like his team is able to rally around him. He's able to start every single fight. When they're pushing high ground, he's the one that's getting the right initiation. He'll go in, bait BKBs, and then back. It's like a lot of the good calls in the game are based on him being the first contact, and Mars just by far looks like the best hero for that for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think his Mars is really good, and it kind of shows that his experience as a player and his ability to read the map really shines while playing a hero like Mars, who buys Blink BKB, as compared to like the Zoo heroes that just walk around and farm. Sometimes it feels like when you play the Alchemist, to just go back to that, he can get into mode carry, start doing the farming patterns. But when he starts like playing this Mars, he gets his dagger, he starts having his killer instinct. He's good at both, right? But I think this team needs him to be moving across the map and making plays.
Yeah, I mean, they just have the right balance. Like, it's just going back to what I said about Heroic, where they don't really have the right balance. They're trying to draft around too many people, and I feel like that oftentimes create a problem where you have a draft that has like some economical imbalances where too many people need too much out of the map, and it's very difficult to get it to work, against the battle teams. Maybe in their own region in South America, people don't punish it as hard, so they feel confident with those type of strategies. But when you're here, everyone's a lot better. In the laning phase, they do small little things slightly better, and it makes it really difficult to be greedy and get away with it. So the balance in the draft is very, very important.
The Mars wasn't banned, even though we thought maybe that could have been where they wanted to go Heroic, but the Mirana was taken out. They didn't like dealing with that one. Thought it was a little too good for the side of Tundra, and that was their opener last time. So what are they now comfortable in picking up straight away for themselves? They've left Omni and Viper in the pool that were previously banned.
That's a good question. We'll have to see. I mean, probably response to Enchantress. Everyone has their own response. We've seen Nyx be pretty popular. Usually if you can deal with the creep, it's typically addressing the Enchantress or having some way to deal with it. And Tundra, they're going to go for the DK. This is a hero that I'm starting to like less and less the more I see it, if I'm going to be honest with you.
I mean, what about on Tundra, though? I feel
they love, yeah, I mean, there's always
the first guy doing
right? Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see. There is always the exceptions where a hero does emerge from the meta because of one player, right? And that one player still believes in it and it's still good, so I will save my judgments for after this game. If Pure still loses with it, then I give up on this.
He played it once already and he lost with it.
Uh-oh.
Just so you know.
Well,
but Ramses has...
You're ruining it already.
Sorry.
I pre-give up on this.
Well, okay,
hero.
but there's two times in which Tundra have picked it. And it's gone on Pure once, they lost with it. But it also went on Ramses, and they won with it. So, a little bit of flex. Maybe Pure wants to try and rectify his win rate with the Dragon Knight.
Maybe they just mirror the Enchantress. I do feel like DK, at the very least in the first few levels, does not really care about an Enchantress too much. You need some extra damage there from maybe the carry and position 4 rotating to kill a DK.
Yeah, but it can get ugly though. Depending on the carry, the Ench can pretty much make any carry that's good versus DK even easier to play.
That's right. You need a kill lane.
I mean, you're talking about when you're talking about mirroring, you're saying so wherever the Ange go, you're gonna go send your DK to that lane.
Yeah, maybe, because they played on both the side lanes.
And I'm not really a big fan, even though they won with the offlane DK. I feel like offlane DK is really not my...
It is Ramses on another farming hero.
Yeah, I don't really like that, I mean, he has that farming mode, but I feel like it upsets the balance in the team. And I think every time I see this team play, I feel like the two polarizing players that you should draft around and play around is either Thompson or Pure, not the offlaner. So in the length of the first half of the year, they've been swapping out offlaners. I think a lot of that has to do with the balance within the cause. They are trying to strike a healthy amount of farm across the board and trying to not overly draft around someone.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talk a lot about Ramses because you have to keep in mind that Thompson, he's just a free spirit, you can't put limitations on this guy. You just have to let Thompson do what Thompson wants to do. So that
somebody has to die for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, even back when he was on OG and they won, it's just we just give Thompson what he wants and we'll play around him. And even on this team, it feels it has to be the same because I feel like Thompson isn't that type of player. He says he's mellowing down, he's getting more stable with it, but
delusion. That's delusional. He's not.
That's PR. That's PR training. He's told to say that,
Anytime he streams, there's 15 more YouTube videos about the builds that he's doing. He has not mellowed down at all.
Yeah, you have to let Thompson just, cook whatever he wants to cook. So, and you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen. Someone's gonna have to be stable, and just do, the work people nobody wants to.
I mean, this is something that has always been brought up, in teams when the coach is drafting. Do you actually draft for the player, or you make the player adapt to the draft? And oftentimes, it's a very fine line. If you don't get it right, then the team is not going to work.
You gotta have like your pawns, you know, the grunts in there that are willing to do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah.
And they don't need that space.
Calling them the sacrificial lambs. Monkey King. Well, actually, let's talk about Snapfire. Snapfire Dragon Knight could potentially be the lane combo that they want to go for on the side of Tundra. Might not happen as well, but let's talk about it as if they were going to be together. Where would you want to put the Monkey King? Is this something that you're looking at fine to be in the safe lane with an Ench against that combo, or it's more looking towards to be mid?
I think the default is mid right now, but so basically the reason why Monkey King mid I think is almost always okay unless you're playing versus like some dazzles and stuff where we've seen that and it got completely destroyed. At least you have a backup option of running across the map and getting kills. One problem you have with Monkey King is that there's 2 heroes in the side lane, not one, so it's very difficult sometimes to get that Jingu stacks off and win those trades, because you're pretty weak in level 1 to 2, even if you do get the Jingu stacks, it has been nerfed, so you can't really trade anyway. Where Monkey King, he gets up to his level 2, level 3 very quickly, and can just kind of like play. So basically the more heroes Monkey's playing against, the worse it is for him. That's why the mid lane's best for him.
And it's easy for you to cross left and right.
Yeah.
You're in the middle. And you have the level advantage. Sometimes it's a bad matchup, but you're still getting levels. And that alone is enough for you to have contribution in the game.
If it's a DK side lane though, let's say it's a DK off lane, and it's like really obvious in the draft, then you pivot the Monkey to be a carry?
I think DK Snap will win versus a Monkey.
Okay, I was gonna say, I do think that's part of the reason they picked the Snap is because it makes it really hard for Monkey in a side lane to get Jingu stacks.
Yeah.
You just scatterblast him and
you scatterblast him, stun him, right click him, then walk away. He's half HP and like just rinse and repeat, right?
Okay, now this is interesting. One of these 3 heroes that were just picked as a core.
Sniper is like, I feel like I remember them running it on carry and mid.
It's 90% likely to be the Sniper, 8% likely to be the Snapfire, and 2% likely to be the hero with the Gleipnir.
2's a little high. I'd maybe give it 0.5%.
I mean,
I think it's a 0.5%.
Thompson loves Sniper and Snapfire, right? I haven't seen his Jakiro, but I'm sure he's tried it. It was funny, we were listening to the interview with Ted, right, saying the heroes that he wanted to play mid on Ted, and he shut down Venomancer.
Yeah, I was surprised.
But I literally saw Thompson play that in a pub.
I mean, they nerfed it right away. After he actually abused it, it got nerfed right away.
Like, no more of that. That's not happening.
I think the Jakiro is kind of good here, getting support work and killing off the trees to catch the Monkey.
Monkey King, yeah. Even just throwing down the Macro Pyre in the Monkey King ult is a lot of the time enough to kill him. Yeah. Very annoying. Kills the Enchantress.
So you just like can't be where you want to be.
Yeah.
You know what would have been kind of a fun facet, I'm totally derailing this conversation for Jakiro, is if you could turn his ult from a line into like a circle instead. It's like the Disruptor kinetic field, but the inverse. Anyway, that's fair.
Anyway,
I don't know, but it's funny.
One of these 4 heroes is Divine Llama, right?
Wait.
No.
So it's analog mid,
Earth Spirit,
Carry Monkey
King carry.
Okay.
Yep.
And he's heroes last.
And then Enchantress Clockwork, and he's getting last picked on Devi.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's a good
I don't
sign.
know if I like the Monkey carry, but
After you talked about it for 5 minutes, how it's better mid, we're not going to run it mid.
And then also, like, whether it's Sniper or Snap mid, I feel like Earth Spirit doesn't enjoy either of those matchups.
No, he doesn't. That's true.
I mean,
Which does he lose?
You can kill the sniper later, but early you're gonna suffer.
I mean, probably Snap is worse, right? Because at least you have the merit of your Earth Spirit versus.
Yeah, but how good is
mid-game.
Snap mid now? Like,
it's really good. It beats it destroys.
Why Snap mid? It's just to win the lane, or what's the other reason?
I mean,
maybe. I mean, I think. In terms of in a side lane against a Monkey King, who's better, Snap or Sniper? Because I feel like Sniper with the Shrapnel, the new Shrapnel, that's pretty strong. I don't know how you're ever going to get Jingu off without killing yourself.
Yeah, I'd rather have Sniper be. I mean, let's just look at their heroes, right?
I'm looking.
And don't Dire's heroes just look incredibly ugly together?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
but
agree.
what about how good are they?
Like, maybe that's just like we know because we've been like pro players for and we played high level. You look at these heroes, it's just a single target.
Yeah,
like,
sometimes you just get the feeling, oh my god, this is never gonna work.
And then you look at like the massive AoE potential, all the items these heroes buy on Tundra. It's like, so basically Heroic's draft, the reason I don't like it is very similar to game number 1, and this is like a playstyle preference. It's very much so playing all eggs in one basket, and it's like skirmishing. Like, we need to skirmish. We need to make these small
snowball the
fights.
game.
We have absolutely no team fight, pretty much. We're going to snowball the game, and if it doesn't work well, then you get in situations that, like Devi was in last game, where when it goes bad, it goes real bad.
I felt like they really wanted Darkseer though. Darkseer maybe could have been the thing that peaked.
Yeah, they needed like
They're banning
a
big
giga-fighter.
AoE team fighters because they realize that's what they need.
They needed something, yeah. So it's Devi Llama, last pick hero, gonna win the lane, solve all the team fight problems, or completely entirely pivot on we're never fighting.
This last pick has to be absolutely massive.
It's
I'm
gonna be
curious
Centaur.
Okay, I mean, the Dazzle ban, not really that curious about it, but because that's like a protection ban there. But this Dragon Knight also still has flex between being carry or off lane. It's
That is
very
true.
open for Tundra. They have overall last pick. Heroic have to reveal everything, and they're not even sure they're going to get the better lane matchups. That's still not 100% yet. It limits your options a lot of what this last pick is going to be for Heroic, and you're already like picking apart.
I feel like it needs to be like some hero that's very hard to kick out from the lane, you know, some DP, some Timber, so because all the other heroes like to rotate and move around, so they need to have a point that they need to move to, you know. So he needs to be that type of hero.
I was going to say Centaur, but I don't know.
Centaur's okay too.
I feel like
I can't think of a single hero that salvages this.
What is...
okay.
Alright, so Devi Llama is going to play Earth Spirit or Monkey King. Offlane Inch, is that still a thing? Is that playable?
Yes.
Is that a meme?
Yeah, it's not bad, but I don't know.
I mean, who's your support if
I think
Edge is off?
It'd be Clock Slark and it'd be
Against-
Monkey King support with Inch.
Is it just Devi's being a Mar right now, and he's just gonna play offlane Slark into like a DK carry? That way, either their side lane is. I mean, this is honestly not bad for laning because on both the side lanes they have Slark versus a Monkey King, or Slark versus
he's
a
doing
DK
it.
or a Mars, or a Monkey King versus a DK or a Mars. Both of those side laners beat the side laners of Tundra.
Yeah, but this is a
It's all on the
This
supports.
is literally a clockwork Slark lane.
You're correct.
This isn't like some hoodwink Slark lane. This isn't a Snapfire Slark.
I mean, what are they gonna
A
do?
Clockwork.
What are they
This
gonna do in a team fight against like?
Schofield Clockwork too. He's not even going to be in the lane.
I mean, the team fight wise, there's Mars, Jack Hero, Snapfire. You have Earth Spirit ulti. That's it. You know, like how are you ever gonna win those team fights?
I mean, it's interesting. I think Heroic, if they win this game, it's going to be off some individual like crazy plays or some ideas we haven't seen before. And it has to be Devi Llama. He's going all in again on the lane stage, so he has to find a way to win his lane here. But unfortunately, I think Tundra has just got all the heroes they would ever want, and it just looks very straightforward for Tundra on this one.
Yeah, you guys already hyped up Ramsey's on Mars. He gets feels like a little thing right now, Jenkins.
Ué, fui dormir 4 horas.
If this were a different team, I might. If this were
vai.
like Falcons,
Tomei
the last
café
pick,
com força ontem,
then
tá
I
sem
would
sono nenhum.
Trust the ability to.
E a Remo tá toda.
win the side
A
lane.
Remo
a
tá
Bibi tá
adorando.
aí, a Bibi tá aí.
Because I do
Quem é Bibi?
But Schofield does not.
Quem é?
Schofield
Quem é?
is the melee heroes, so
Essa é a verdade.
this does not look like that much of a
Ó, que isso.
I think they're an excellent team.
Por que você tem duas contas aí, nego? Pra quê, velho?
Not an easy draft to execute, and also not in their comfort
Gente,
zone.
né?
so
Fica
Tundra got
maluco.
what they wanted.
Okay, thanks for talking so much, Winter. I do want to quickly hear from you, though.
Já vou ligar aqui a live de novo.
Okay,
Deixei
that's all I
torando
really
a
need
noite
to know,
toda
yeah.
aí.
Let's get some more information, though, before game number 2. Nomad standing by with our other coach.
Thank you very much. And yeah, sometimes I gotta struggle to come up with questions. and
Você tem
sometimes
que,
it's
você tem que
really
dar uma
easy.
pausa na sua live,
Thanks a lot.
nego. Iniciar um PC, mano.
Well,
Ah, é, eu acabei de fazer isso agora.
hard hero to
Hey,
counter,
Robin.
right? So you gotta be creative.
Agora deu
I
dólar
felt
9
like we had some good options there, but both teams ran out of
De
time.
quem?
And I think
Agora-
the
Olha,
strategy
deu,
made
ainda
them
seu
more,
não deu muito.
and,
Com o
like,
meu
you're
quarta-feira
just
deu.
choosing between the classic ones,
Deu.
Viper,
No,
Tamer, or
foi 9
Slark.
centavos?
I ended up
Oh.
going for the Slark. Llama is really good on those kind of heroes. He just
Deve
needs to
ter
pop
dado
off.
algum bizu lá, o sistema não passou.
What I have to say.
Falei com o Indião
Alrighty,
ontem, foi,
well,
o
it looked like
sistema
you
não
had
deve
to
ter
say
passado.
before the
É
game
que
because
agora
there
não
was
dá
a
pra nem
big,
te
long
ver, tá
huddle.
ligado?
Could
Em
you just give me a bit of
resumo,
insight as to
do-
what you guys
do
were
poder que
talking
tá
about
assistindo,
during
tá
the
ligado?
pregame?
Dá sim.
Well, we're talking about how we think
Quando
that
passa
we
sistemas,
played well
é,
the
você
first
vê
game.
pelo,
It's just
acho que
that
visualizador
lanes don't
único.
go the way we played, and then they had a
Os
really
únicos.
good
Tem que
tempo
ter mais
lineup,
200.
and we weren't ready for it. So we're just talking about that, trying to like go
É,
back to
deixa eu ativar aqui,
our
tirar o
best,
R1, né? Que agora não é R1.
our best way of like
Agora é
trying to get
captura
them
de
ready for the
jogo,
next game,
imagem.
like the way they were for the first game. That's what I meant. And
We do have action in the game, so we are going to jump straight into it with Cap and SBG for Game 2. Thank you very much.
That's right. Welcome to Game 2 of Heroic versus Tundra. We already had a first blood on our hands, as you guys saw. Snapfire did go down, but Avery, I was really interested in, we were listening to Cap Furtado there, and he was talking about, you know, the drafts, being a drafter yourself, being a coach yourself. Do you agree with that philosophy that they chose with, right? They needed an answer to the Dragon Knight. They think it's a hard hero to be able to counter. They had some options that were way more traditional, but they went for the off-lane Slark, something they've only played once before in an official, because they thought it would surprise Tundra, and they didn't have much time left in the draft.
There's some validity to that. I mean, there is some truth. Like, you pick
Ah,
something
é, o
the enemy
7 de
doesn't expect, they're
setembro.
not used to.
Violento.
It's a little
Não,
difficult to formulate a game plan against it super
Oh.
fast when you have 20 seconds left or whatever, right?
Yep.
So maybe your items against it are going to be a little more off than something like Timbersaw you were expecting.
Não tá
But I do
aparecendo no
think the
best
Timber
lá
might have sounded juicy. The one upside here for Heroic
jogo.
as this draft, it's definitely wonky, right? I don't think anyone's going to argue this draft isn't wonky.
Eu já tô com o
but
jogo aberto. Tem
they
que
have
abrir
a
o
lot of
jogo
gap
depois do
closers.
OBS.
If there's one thing this
Ou
lineup
depois
excels
tu
in,
lá abrir o
it's
OBS
gap
e
close.
mudar, pô.
You have
Vamos lá,
3
e mandar o
cores
jogo.
with innate gap close abilities.
Eu já
They're all
coloquei.
3
Mandei.
But
Não, o
they can all
meu
just
eu boto
jump on
captura
top
de
of
jogo.
and
Que tá em tela
Não,
cheia.
captura de jogo, mas
repeating
tem que
gap
escolher o
close. Like, you
jogo,
have
cara.
multiple leaps off of Sarkags, you have multiple rolls in with the
Precisava não, já
Spirit.
pegar,
The
ia
Monkey King
detectar
can
sozinho.
leap, Boundless Strike you, leap again. Like, in theory, the chase down potential is super big. Clockwork's another hero that can just give you an 8 gap close from level 6 onwards. So if you can just start to snowball this game and pick Tundra off across the map and just start running them down, create the chaotic South American Dota that this squad is capable of, that is where this lineup can shine. If you get stuck in more of a disciplined, slow, methodical game like we saw last time where Tundra are running around with Thompson, killing a hero there, controlling the map, setting up for Oshans, you might have a difficult time just taking the straight up engagements in a 5v5, 4-on-4 situation.
Yeah, I mean, the panel was already talking about how they were doing something a little bit different. Before the Slark even came up, right, with the Earth Spirit pickup, they were talking about, is that going to be Divine Llama's hero, or is that going to be running mid for Analog? And this is something that they have
Iniciar o
done
jogo se
before.
parece.
Unfortunately, I'm referencing the same exact game that we referenced for the off-lane Marcy's success.
Ele,
that
quanto
Heroic
hoje tá
had in
como?
that
Tá
game
torando ele
against
com.
Game and Gladiators. So
Você arrumou aí nesse trem, nego? Tá.
reference didn't work in game 1. I'm not sure if it'll
O
work in game
helicóptero.
2, but we'll see. Maybe the Slark will end up working for them. This is something that they
Eita,
have done once
doideira
in
mesmo,
official.
hein?
That was just a month ago. They did it in an online tournament. Obviously, very different situation here on LAN and against a very tough opponent in Tundra that they're already down at 1 game against. It does seem like they are very much all in on the laning phase, something that didn't work for them in game 1. Do you think the laning phase is going to go better in this second game?
I actually don't think it's that all in. Like, every game at TI is going to be pretty dependent on the lane
Vai
phase.
baixar o valor, você viu ali da coisa do idioma pra 70.
And oh, wait, okay. Schofield commits for it and does manage to get the kill, and he will not die to that
Tá
tower
dando
hit.
menos.
Gets a bit low, but he has a healing sound, so he is going to be back into it. This double melee off lanes were actually working quite well.
I mean, the biggest factor, Divine Llama got first blood off that exchange we saw, so he just came to lane with an extra bracer, basically.
É.
He is raking in the gold.
Olha lá, eu
now.
falei
He
com
is
você, ó.
very far
Só iniciar o jogo.
worthwhile.
Então é isso, meu. Tem que abrir o OBS primeiro, depois abre o jogo. Aí já aparece.
Slark is in a very solid position, already level 4. I don't think this lineup is as dependent on the lanes, just because I think the skirmish power is something people are underestimating a little bit. Like, Earth Spirit Slark, if they get to like the first and a half items, they're pretty annoying in the fight. Tundra don't have a super early pipe buyer, for example, right? We're not going to see Ramses buy first item pipe on Mars here, I think.
Okay.
This Magnetize could be annoying. If you can gap close the sniper, you remove a lot of the damage from Tundra's lineup. I see the potential. There's a lot that has to be executed there, but I do kind of see the idea, and you should not underestimate how much the Slark can do in some of these early fights if he starts building up early stacks. Like, he can be annoying. And there's not a lot of control for him. You have Arena, but that's it.
Nice
So far
use of the
this
cookie
lane,
there
Dia
from
de...
Soxa.
É, dia de
Being
Dota.
in the 5-position lane has not gone so well here for Soxa.
No.
As the roll hit from Analog, he thought he survived, and all of a sudden, Analog
Hoje é
from
dia de
downtown
Dotinha.
rolls in and gives him a
Deixa eu
good
atualizar,
kick.
peraí.
He's going to stay around here, too. They're going to dive. This Dragon Knight potentially have the wave coming in. I mean, Pure offers nothing here in terms of trying to turn it around.
Hoje é dia de
To try and
dotinha.
help this situation. The dive is still going to continue, though.
They just bailed. Good luck, team.
Vamos ver aqui TI que tá rolando. Ó, Tundra, vamos ver aqui.
Away, but the shrapnel and now the dual breast slowing him down. He doesn't have a pounce to be able to jump out, so he's going to be relying entirely on juking through the trees, and that's just not going to work for you against 3 different heroes all looking for you.
You get a lot of TPs down here, both supports again and the snipers.
Mas já passou os
triple
palpites
shrapnel
já.
drop from Thompson. It's a big
Caralho,
committal from Tundra to try and turn this aggression around. You do get a big kill out of it, and that Slark slow down his momentum.
As partidas que vai rolar hoje.
I was going to say the one lane I was maybe the most worried about was this sniper versus melee hero mid, but honestly, Analog, he's gotten through it, and I mean, this would be a massive pickup if they can kill Thompson in the early game.
Thompson has made this rotation, but the supports have come with him. They hit him with a blood grenade, still might be able to make commit as the Magnetize is taking him down. Analog has got the kill, no problem, and he's going to look for more. He's got Whitemon, now he's going to go for the support as well. Analog playing that beautifully. His Earth Spirit is top tier, and he understood in that situation, Magnetize is inevitable. They will be dying here.
Começou
He's
5 horas da
just gotta make sure
manhã.
to play it slow and keep those ticks up.
This is the best spell for Heroic in this game, and the most dangerous one for Tundra. You get stuck in these early fights versus Magnetize, it's going to decimate you. They don't have early dispels. They don't have a lot of early healing or sustain to kind of power through it. Traditionally, you'd want heroes like Omni Knight, Abaddon, Undying versus this Earth Spirit to just clog up his team fight, but there's none of that in this early game.
As zonas é
Analog can really
Spirit,
put
não.
pressure
Ao
on this
nós
game.
que tem o
Top that
BR.
triple earn charge on top of it.
Brasileiro,
That's gonna put
nós.
more pressure on these big melee cores that Tundra have. Heroic starting to cook a little bit in this game too.
Absolutely. I love the fact
lineup,
that
but making it work.
Analog created that opening himself through the pressure that he created in the bottom lane, forcing the sniper to TP, right? Sniper's not able to get back to that mid lane as easily. They catch him in the middle of the jungle as a result. And now, with the supports rotating back with Thompson and then dying, it left the Slark in a 1v1. So the Slark was one who died in that rotation, but it still worked out for him in the end because he gets some 1v1 time against Dragonite, just what he wants.
Taking advantage of the resources on the map. Heroic playing a little chaotic too, saying going back to the roots. I mean, that is a big part of it. Got to kind of make the game unorthodox for Tundra here, so they aren't sure exactly what's happening, getting dragged around, and then caught in these fights that are disadvantageous. Trying to weather the storm right now. Ideally, you play around Thompson here because, like, this mid sniper is very strong in these early fights if you can put him in a good position. But his tower is just dead to this Enchantress. We saw this hero first pick for a reason. It did some work game 1 in terms of the objective taking, and KJ putting it to work here. Nice 2-man stomp.
That's right, true to his name, King Jungles comes out with the Enchantress trying to use the jungle to his advantage to take that mid tower. Does force a lot of rotations to protect that mid tower because it's a sniper, but that leaves Dragonite all alone.
This is one of those games where if you're pure, it's like, what the hell's happening? Why is there a Slark Earth Spirit clock on me at like 8 minutes, you know?
Yep.
It's like one of those bad pubs where you can't tell if the enemy team gave up or not. It's like, is this guy buying Meteor Hammer? Like, what's happening? I just want to farm, guys. We'll see if he opts for the Midas in a maybe similar recovery position to what Hector was last game. But it's Hector going aggression this time. No Midas for him. He's just going the Gleipnir. This is not a bad position for Heroic. I feel like
not at all.
Tundra wanted more out of the sniper in the early game. And if you don't get Thompson to a position where he's a bit tankier, you reverse so much gap close. I do wonder if this sniper is just going to get bamboozled every fight. Like, you have 6 heroes rolling on him in an edge creep, and his tower's gone, and there's night vision on the Slark to contest with to match you, and it's a spooky game for Thompson right now. He does not have a lot of frontline either outside of the Mars to...
They know. They see him, but Analog, a roll after a sniper, but he had an invisibility, so not going to be able to kill him here. Still going to be able to go for the ward. It gets denied by Soxa. They are getting herded into this offlane tower area, and with the Enchantress creep, they could tank the tower shots if they want to go for the dive. But they opt not to go for it, maybe for the best. That could have been a throwy situation there.
Absolutely could have been. And I mean, Tundra, they did play it well. Like, they maintained their formation, protect the tops, and just back up. Invis Rune does some work. Not giving an opening there is really important because this is where that Magnetize can absolutely shred them in the 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Still Schofield protecting their wards here. Does not want to let Tundra back into the high ground, and
they knew Whitemon could not stop himself from going up to that high ground and checking out this ancient stack that they have for themselves, but there will be the punish back. Ramses gets the arena onto Divide Llama. Nowhere he can go. He's going to be shot down by Thompson, and now they can maybe clear through that ancient stack, though. Gonna have to do it as a group if they really want to. Heroic is not going anywhere, though. They still have this magnetized to use, and they've got the vision to be able to blow up Soxa. Got a kick to slow down Thompson, allowing Schofield to catch up. Now he's inside the cogs, and now he is screwed. He is stuck inside the cogs with a battery assault and analog right there as well. Wait, a pushback for God's Rebuke. They're doing the damage. He's actually going to be okay for now. It's King Jungles committing for the kill, trying to get him, and he does manage to. Ever so barely, he gets his level 6, and it's going to be a slow death, if a death at all. He has a TP scroll, Hector, and he's got Hector bailing him out. No, the God's Rebuke stops him from being able to land, stops him from hitting that additional nuke. King Jungles will finally die, as it's going to be the supports limping over the finish line to be able to get these kills they're looking for.
I mean, this is South American Dota in a nutshell. You are getting dragged into skirmishes and fights you probably rather not take, but Tundra are meeting them head on, bringing the numbers. That's the most important part here. You do not want to get outnumbered. And a huge component of that fight, we saw amp damage. Earth Spirit, I think, would have decimated that entire exchange. But he magnetized the first target he rolled on in Soxa, and Soxa immediately died. So this magnetized just died with him.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
And it costs him a lot here, because I think that would have been a great fight with the amp damage rune just powering it all up. Tundra happy to get through that exchange, get some ancient camps for the Dragon Knight. They'll bleed out another support as Heroic continue to just pick up the pace and continue to swarm the ramparts here.
It really does feel like this is the exact same situation, just shoes on the other foot here, where Pure is just farming away as Dragon Knight, and his team is being decimated.
Yeah, this looks like a mirror image from last game. Yeah. But he didn't go the Midas. So.
That's true. Maybe you should rethink that. Schofield will be caught trying to play too much around this triangle area, and Heroic looks like they've finally been kicked out for good. Not that Hector minds. He's farming the exact opposite side of the map and pushing in that bottom lane deep.
Bet you he wishes he was Wraith King right now with all this space, man.
It always does kind of weird me out seeing Hector playing a non-strength hero.
He's caught here,
and he should be dying. Here's the trickery. Can only take him so far, but if he gets outside of vision, good thing the kisses were used, because he was getting away and might have been able to jump into the trees. Soxa, wise as he is, opts to use the kisses for a hero that definitely needed it. That being said, a lot of heroes do show in the bottom lane. Thompson's got to be careful in mid, as he's still trying to work towards his Maelstrom.
Man, Tundra really played this last few minutes well. Like, this game could have snowballed very fast off some of those magnetizes and power runes. Instead, they put all their cores in a decent position. Even Soxa found some solid net worth. And this Slark, who, if you remember, was the most farmed hero out of the lane phase, he's now the bottom of the chart. Divide Llama just not finding that like crazy momentum he was looking for off these fights. Does hurt this hero a little bit.
He is going to find the Diffusal Blade very soon, and they'll take this off-lane tower, which may mean, especially if he can get the Diffusal Blade in time, nobody takes the last hit, awkward, but they can maybe play for the 14-minute Wisdom Ring steal.
I think that's too much to ask for here.
Yeah, fighting into this Mars is particularly hard so early on.
And these support ults are powerful if Tundra can set up the front line here with the Mars, so this is a very risky maneuver, though Tundra are a little out of position.
Heroic. Is this going to be a situation where they have bitten off more than they can chew? As in the high ground, Pure is sitting here. Cookie goes out, hits on a couple there, and Slark actually gets a little bit low. But thanks to his ultimate, he's going to be able to heal up and get away. Schofield, Centaur stomp, but they're still going to be able to track him. Schofield goes down, and Heroic indeed. That push forward into the 14-minute Wisdom Rune area does not work for them.
Lost the Magnetize again, and that was the Blade Mail for the Earth Spirit. That's why Tundra just didn't want to commit on him there, but not the fight Analog's looking for in this early stages of the game. And once more, Tundra just bringing the numbers, maintaining close proximity, bailing each other out. There's just not a lot of openings there. It's a tough fight. I mean, you look at the map right now, in theory, you should not feel bad if you're Heroic, because you're continuing to push Tundra into this one part of the map. Like, bottom lane has been empty.
Oh, got him again. ever so barely, but catches K1 Hector on the edge of the arena. And this is going to be a constant problem for him until he can get the shard or a BKB on the Monkey King.
Ramsey's not afraid of the Monkey King here.
Apparently not.
Not a signature hero for Hector, I would tend to agree. I mean, these are two really bad deaths for Hector, right?
Yes.
Like, you're looking at the amount of space he has right now. He's had the entirety of this bottom half of the map to himself. And he is not the highest net worth. I think there are a lot of heroes he would be, like a Chaos Knight, a Wraith King, some of these heroes that could ghost shove the wave. These two deaths that Ramsey's caught him have really slowed down the Monkey King's gameplay and kind of made the space making that Heroic were doing with the 4 other heroes a bit of a moot point.
See that heat map all over the place.
But it is not translated to a free game.
No.
And that's a big deal.
And in fact, Tundra have completely evened out the net worth in this game.
So you have your Diffusal on the Slark. You saw the Blade Mail on the Earthspear as well, pushing towards that vessel. This is kind of where these two heroes can shine in terms of the early skirmishing with the early power spike on these items. And you have your nighttime as well for the Slark vision. So this is kind of where you'd want to aggressively make a move, smoke. Again, you kind of know where Tundra are. They're only in one part of the map, so you just have to force it and break them. We're going to see Heroic smoke up, try and swarm, maybe try and get a good angle here. A lot of this fight comes down to Magnetize, how much it can do, how many heroes it sticks on. You have max stones up, 9 stones to play with here if you're Analog.
They spot Soxa. Go for him. Arena goes out and immediately locks down the Earth Spirit underneath the Macro Pyre. They go for the hook shot, though. They're trying to stick on top of Thompson. Thompson gets pulled away from Divine Llama, who sticks on a Pure instead. With the Magnetize on some of these heroes, though, they are ticking down, but the team fight, oh, nice kick through from Analog. Finishes off Thompson at least, and the Dragon Knight ticks out as well. The Magnetize is still going on. He's going to get a 3rd kill out of this situation, I think, as Whitemon thought about the TP away. K1 Hector finally shows up. King Jungles will be the one to claim the kill on Whitemon at the end. A 2-for-3 exchange that ultimately does go the favor of Heroic.
Earth Spirit, I mean, it is a 1v5 machine, right? Everybody there is just a meat shield for this guy to get the job done. And he gets it done. 8-0 and 5 start, by the way, for Analog here.
Crazy.
He has absolutely owned this game. The second he rolls in there, he got magnetized on everybody. That team fight is over for Tundra. It's just a matter of what you get out of it at that point. And since he got the Blade Mill off on the Spear for Ramses, you can't all-in commit on him. He has too much HP right now. So you got to get to these Dispels. Early BKBs for Tundra are going to be their answer. It's going to be second item BKB for the Mars and the Dragon Knight here. That's going to be a big deal if you can get to it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a very clear difference in these team fights. The team fights, the 2 team fights where Magnetize hits multiple heroes, they demolish. Heroic wins that fight. But if it doesn't, then, you know, the team fight actually goes against them. What happens if you get BKBs on all these heroes? Like, what's carrying the team fight at that point?
You're going to go into the Valley, I think, with this lineup if you're Heroic. Like, that mid-game period where Tundra have Dispels or Sustains, like a Greaves on a support or something, it's going to be way harder for you to just force those skirmishes straight up. And you're going to have to maybe just farm and split the map a little bit. Maybe play for a Roshan fight, get your own BKB, something like this to trade out those durations for Tundra as this here.
Yeah, Analog managed to get the roll away, I think, from Ramses in time before the spear hits him. And from what you're saying, it sounds like Heroic should try and keep forcing fights while they have this window before they hit the Valley of the BKBs. And with Arena on cooldown, that may be a great opportunity for just that.
Or at least out-farm Tundra. You can be okay with corralling them if you're getting more out of the map, which I think they have been in that position, but again, some of the bad deaths have cost them that lead. Analog is very farm, so if he gets his own BKB, you can just trade out BKBs. But again, you have to be careful of this Magnetize getting dispelled in that type of situation. Still, do not underestimate the scale here on this Earth Spirit. He is still an absolute beast in the late game with 5 or 6 slots. You're looking at like things like Shiva's Octarine, whatever it is. He's a monster.
Yeah, and he doesn't right-click for a totally insignificant amount with that facet.
But you will hit this mid-game Valley a bit, and Tundra are going to look to take advantage of it if they can with this BKB timing. Look for a smoke gank of their own. Try and get a pick off, maybe translate it into Roshan. You're still looking to recover your sniper in this game a bit. Thompson will finish up the Gleipnir. Adds a bit more control and damage to their team fight.
Gleipnir 1, Gleipnir 2.
And it will be the Deso for Ramses. He's eyeing it up this game. Does love this build. gives them a bit more physical to shred through these 3 melee cores.
Yeah, they, I mean, you were talking about how important a pipe could be for the lineup of Tundra. Instead, they opted for just triple BKBs.
Yeah.
Do you think this is do you like Ramses going for the damage approach this game?
If you're going the BKBs, yeah. Like, I don't think you're going 3 BKBs potentially and then getting a pipe. I don't think it makes too much sense to me.
Sure.
You're just going to try and outscale him here. Put your Dragon Knight in a position where he just out-man fights everybody.
Well, he is out-man fighting this tower.
Owned it.
Shuri's at mid, gives them a power rune to work with. Heroic maybe are already falling back on that play to, you know, split the map as much as possible. I mean, look at them. They are on the borders of the map.
Yeah, it's time, right? You do not want to force this fight up into the BKB timing Tundra have. But your lineup is solid at splitting the map. Like, you have 3 melee cores, but again, they're all elusive. Kind of annoying. The Slark's going to give you some extra D wards that you can play around. The Enchantress can also split push some ways with creeps. So you're not too inefficient in playing this type of game, splitting the side lanes, splitting Tundra up. Their lineup, you look at Tundra's lineup, it's very limited on the catch. And their lineup thrives in the straight 5-on-5 and objective-oriented fight, but catching heroes on the map just comes down to Ramses finding heroes with this arena. That's it. It can be a bit clunky for them if the map gets split this hard. Then it comes down to a question of, well, I mean, who wins ultra late here between these 2 lineups going head-to-head? That is a tough question to answer, honestly, because both these lineups scale very hard between 3 cores. It probably just comes down to itemization and execution in the late game.
Sure.
And I mean, Hector Monkey King. Question mark. What does that look like, right?
Yeah. He's going to work towards a BKB. They're going to take the Tormentor real quick, though. A little bit more efficient for Heroic than it was for Tundra. And they get a jetpack for Schofield. So more opportunity, as he's been hanging out in this bottom lane, more opportunity for them to be elusive.
Yeah, they're being really annoying right now. They are getting more out of the map. Their supports have found a bit of extra net worth. They don't have the Midas Earth Speeder or something like that, but Analog is keeping up there at the top. Just had such a good early start. And that is something else to keep in mind. There is a big streak on this Earth Spirit as he finishes the BKB. So if Tundra can win a team fight and collect some of these bounties, there's a lot of hidden gold there.
Smoke gets them a very nice aggressive ward, though it is spotting out a Slark right now. We'll see if Dubai Llama managed to make the read that ward just got placed there.
Tundra very split, but they want to go triangle here off a scan. That's what they're really looking for.
They find the monkey again.
So
Trickery
low.
dodges some of the damage, but yeah, he was farming up some Ancients, I think. Got super low off of it. A pounce lands on Ramses. He says, okay, no problem. Pops BKB, walks away.
Did he actually not heal off that Tormentor?
No, he
Is that what that was?
He was walking because K1 Hector plays for efficiency, farm efficiency if nothing else.
I actually just assumed he went to heal.
No. As mobile as Monkey King is, he did not want to take the 5 seconds it would get to take him back to Fountain.
Honestly, such a Hector. I mean, he... What a beast. It does not pay off here, though, as that is an easy kill for Ramses to collect.
Dubai Llama trying to catch Soxa and get some extra attributes for himself. Doesn't find it, and Pure is still in this area. Hit him with the jetpack cogs. Lock him down and annoy him for half a second at best.
You got to remember, though, that is a play that Heroic are making without the Monkey King.
Yeah.
And Tundra are backing up there. Like, they did not want to take that fight. Kind of interesting. As we weigh the strength of these 2 teams in an actual 5-on-5, you do have that BKB complete for the Earth Spirit. So, in theory, you combine that with the Monkey King BKB, you could start to look at that head-on engagement. Tundra didn't really get what they wanted out of that BKB timing, I think, which it's not terrible here, because you wanted them in this game no matter what. You want to scale with them. They're mainly here for things like the Roshan fight and, you know, Pure being able to commit in to something like a Wukong if it gets dropped, but so we'll give time for Hector to meet them on that battlefield after a couple rough pickoffs. Still kind of feel like you'd want to get the fight going right now if you could, if you're Tundra, especially during this daytime.
Oh, yeah.
Or just force the Roche. Like, you have
sure
pretty decent single target physical burst here with the cores.
Yeah, you've got Chrysalis done for Pure. If you're willing to pop Dragon Form to be able to take that Roshan,
I think you are, for sure.
You could do it pretty easily.
They're eyeing it up. It's going to be close this nighttime.
Yeah, it's going to switch over. If they commit for this tower.
Heroic are grouping. They want to fight. Monkey King BKB is done. You're still looking for this Deso on Ramses, so he's missing some net worth, and it's a big flank coming through.
Yeah, once again, the wraparound, and they're going to find the supports immediately. The Jakiro's going to be the first one to be gone on here. He does manage to get off his Ice Path. Macro Pyre, not too bad, but it's going to be a BKB, K1 Hector. Analog hits the back line. He found what he was looking for. That's going to be Sapphire, and the Sniper caught in his assault, and that means the other two cores going to just BKB, TP away, but Ramses didn't make it out.
Ticked out to the Magnetize, I think, right? What got him at the end there? That was a post-TP death. Yeah, I think it was a Magnetize. No, it was a Magnetize tick.
Oh.
Got reprocced on him even after the BKB and just runs out. A brutal fight for Tundra. A kind of daytime started fight. They did not win, and so much of that is the gap close. Analog finding the back line immediately on the tops, and this is the weakness of this lineup this game. If the sniper gets gone on and these heroes just BKB start hitting him, you have nothing to bail him out. There's no BKB control in this lineup. There's nothing like an overgrowth or something to, recreate the gap so Tops can go to work. He's just food in the middle of an exchange like that. That is a big win for Heroic in this game. And they get an Aegis on Hector. So now, my friend, you can go and get picked off if you want.
Tundra have made a lot of good reads of Heroic's movements, but that one seems that they completely caught Tundra off guard.
Yeah, they just didn't have the right angle. This Earth Spirit was immediately on them on the backside. And you get some good damage out of the Jakiro, but these cores can't take down the Monkey and BKB Wukong anyway, so it's kind of wasted here.
Yep. And
Analog just got the job done, man. I mean, this hero has been beastly this game. No way around it. In fact, what is he up to now? He's 9-0-7, level 18. He is enjoying life.
I mean, it just looks so much better than the last game where the lineup's still a little greedy, I think, but at least they have one playmaker in the cores.
It makes a big difference. They have easy initiation. They can find the angles. They can be creative with it, right? That's where this team thrives. It is nighttime, but Tundra looking to push in, have the high ground ward, trying to play around it, find a straggler. Won't find anything. It's been a struggle for them outside of a couple arenas. They haven't really been able to start the fights.
You can see Davai Lama, he's got the gem. He knows there's a ward there, and he wants to de-ward it, but he does not approach the ward once he sees it, and he doesn't do it either. Because he knows Tundra is going to play around the vision that they have.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
If he goes for the D-ward, he's potentially getting caught. Even if he dark packs, he could still be stuck inside an arena.
You can depth shroud for it, but
this team directly behind him, he takes this ward, and they smoke off of the vision going down on the side of Tundra. And it looks like Whitemond's going to get caught up in this one. Heroic, I think, they want more. They want something different. That's why the jetpack and why they didn't immediately jump. And they got him too! Oh, the hook shot from across the field catches Thompson. They wanted something better off that smoke, and by golly, they found it.
Ward saw him running up there, got the rocket flare to land, and easy lineup for Schofield. Made the correct play, which is go for more. Heroic, they can start to snowball this map right now. They have every ability to do so. And one of the big things in this game is, like, you have initiation sources between the cores here and the DK and the Mars, but if you jump in with a DK or Mars to try and latch somebody, and you drop a depth shroud on that hero.
Yep.
That team fight seems a little awkward, especially if you commit BKB.
Ooh, hit him with a Dragon Tail immediately. That damage, it adds up pretty quickly. Oh, he juked him. They thought he was going to roll upwards, but he actually rolled to the right, juking the attempted blocks.
I do not know if he should have gotten out of that one, but
no, I don't think so.
He will live to fight another day, and that's a big life.
He's going to roll after them anyway. Despite his BKB being down, they still want to take this team fight with K1 Hector's BKB, but it looks like it makes awesome Depth Shroud. It's trying to help him out, but the Kisses are going to come in, and they'll do the AoE damage. In fact, Davai Lama, he's going to TP away underneath his own ultimate and Depth Shroud.
Heroic want to bail. Yeah. That was a risky fight to take. No BKB on the Earth Spirit. That just felt like you were asking for it. And again, that was the big streak to collect. Went to Soxa here, I think, so he gets the 1,000 gold for it. Happy about that one?
Well, I don't know if the rest of Tundra's happy about that one.
No,
like that gold could have been better on somebody else, but it is what it is.
I mean, Soxa takes what he wants.
That's true.
He's a TI winner.
You took 9 classes spot, you know?
All right, well, you don't have to phrase it like that. I think that was a little over the top. Austin.
Daytime is coming, Avery, and that means that Tundra are going to be happy to take fights, I assume, right?
They should be. You have to start thinking about this next Roshan. Like, you still have a minute left on stages if you're heroic, but if you're Tundra, the way you win this game is you get a Roshan in this game, and then you start to push with an Aegis Dragon Knight. So if you can wear through these periods where kind of nothing happens and set up for that, in theory, you're not too sad.
Yeah.
But I get, of course, this is a long way away, and you still have 40 seconds here for heroic. I don't think they're going to get another fight out of it. So you kind of waited through this Aegis period if you're Tundra. And you can start to think about the next one, what that looks like, what you're going to gear up for in terms of that head-on fight. BKB will finish for the Slark, and you're going to get an Octarine for the Earth Spirit here, plus one more item for Hector. It should be the Ags he was eyeing up. He's pretty much finished with it. This Monkey King's going to scale, man. It's going to be kind of a beast.
Yeah. I guess the question is whether or not they have the lockdown to keep heroes within the Wukong's command, within the Aghanim statues.
Yeah, Ramsey's flirting with danger here.
Yeah,
you know there's a gem.
He just figures that if the Slark is going to see him, he's going to be able to blink away faster. Analog would be a great pick-off, and he's going to hit him with the Spear Arena combo. His team, though, is not able to follow it up immediately, and Analog gets off the BKB, and he can walk away from the team fight if he wants to. Hector's right in the middle of all these heroes, but he just got burned out. Macropyre, Ice Path, and just raw physical damage from Pure is enough to put him down, and it's going to take the Llama out of the fight as well.
Analog trying to clean something up, but he finds nothing here as Ramsey's TP's out in time. A very disjointed fight for both teams as the cogs in the arena separated both sides there, but Pure, he is standing and delivering right now. This Mask of Madness Daedalus just ripped through Hector. Did not have the survivability.
No, I mean, he took so much damage before he gets off the Wukong's command. Right, like that Wukong's command gives him all that bonus armor, but if you die before it even goes off, basically.
But look at how much this Dragon Knight's doing right now. Sword on top of all of it. He's hitting for 450, basically 500 a hit. If you crit on any of those, it's a nightmare right now for anybody on the side of Heroic because you don't have the big armor items up yet. You don't have a Shiva's, you don't have an AC, you don't have a Butterfly, you don't have Satanic.
Whoa, Thompson! Okay, he has baited Analog. The hook shot comes across, though. Still threatening these heroes. Analog's going to roll away. Schofield may not have that same luxury, but he does have a Glimmer Cape. That protects him, and Tundra just trying to full out before Analog can catch them. And they all do manage to get away, at least for now. Schofield's still hunting with the jetpack, but without a hook shot, it's not going to mean much.
I'll be honest, some of these exchanges, like, I don't know who is trying to bait who. Somebody's wrong in these baits. Like,
what was Thompson's game plan there exactly?
I think he was trying to bait somebody to, like, overcommit in while they were still missing some heroes and weren't set up.
So you think he knew the sentry was there and they could see
I don't know, man. It's such a weird play, honestly.
Too hard to get into the mind of Thompson.
I've tried for years and I've given up, so you just accept what you see. You trust it as reality. Nonetheless, he is recovered in this game. He's top 2.
He has. Something that I was surprised. I mean, I thought it was good Ramsey's going the Deso build because I wasn't sure if Thompson was going to be much of a force in this game, considering all the gap close.
Just
and
looking for the
early
BKB.
Start.
He has kind of everything else. The Invis with the Shadow Blade, the Grenade, the Hurricane Pike for some disjoint. Get that BKB, you can get rid of the Earth Spirit problem that's plagued him. Tundra hitting a very strong point in this game, and Mjolnir for Pure. Ooh, if they do not manage to stun him and wear through some of his HP at the start of the fight, I think he's the ultimate beast here.
What do you think of why the Mjolnir exactly?
It's just so much damage, man.
Okay.
And you have like monkey soldiers and random stuff that can proc it. You can also throw the charge on on the Mars or somebody else if you really want to.
Okay.
It's just so much damage. It's overwhelming. If he gets to stun Hector, for example, you might just die in a stun here. There's Depth Shroud that can bail out this monkey, but
yeah. There are some interesting saves, right? We got the Depth Shroud. We also just picked up the Shard for the Earth Spirits, and now he can pull allies away.
Meanwhile, though, Tundra, they've got Cookie, they've got the concussive grenade. There's a lot of weird saves, I would say.
Yeah, both sides have some ways to bail out their cores. You're gonna have to stand and deliver. Hector will look towards that butterfly. That'll be his kind of pseudo-defensive item of choice to deal with this Monkey King. Mjolnir does help you through that a bit. I don't think Pierre's gonna go back for an MKB or anything in this game. You want to get as much done with this DK right now as you can, because nobody's contesting him. And again, this is that like next Aegis period I talked about a while ago. Tundra geared up for it. If they can put a second life on this Dragon Knight, it's absolutely untouchable. You're going to need a lot of Slark stacks to get through that.
That is a big if, though, because we are stuck in this cycle of nighttime Roshans.
We are. Favors Heroic. It's a dire side outpost Roshan during nighttime for the Slark, but the vision right now is being controlled by Tundra. They're set up and they have the position. So if they want to hold this high ground, you negate a lot of that advantage.
At the same time, there is vision thanks to the clockwork, and they also know with these other lanes pushed in that Tundra's up here.
By the way, very limited buybacks available for Heroic on this dire side. You only have Slark and Clock.
Okay, so Divine Llama, maybe he's got to be the one to start things off, but they managed to hit the hook shot.